Welcome to That's My Biz, the Internet Business Showcase, where we bring exposure to products, services, and special causes of local businesses and organizations. Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from the BizLinks TV studio. Brought to you by Visual Marketing Mentors, LLC. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of That's My Biz. We are so excited to bring another great guest to you, Ms. Bonnie Ross Parker. Bonnie, thanks so much for joining us.
What a fun time to spend with you.
Absolutely. Now, Bonnie and I go way, way, way back. I don't even think Bonnie realizes how far back we go, and I'll tell you later on. We won't put it out there on the air. But most recently, we reconnected at an event that we had with Pink Power Conference
exactly.
that they had the Microsoft store. So you all have to make sure that you check out what all is going on with the Pink Power Conference. Bonnie is going to be one of the speakers there, so we're excited to come to you with that. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Bonnie. She is a multidimensional entrepreneur. She's a speaker and author, CEO and founder of nationally recognized and innovative customer acquisition marketing program called Experience Connections. Her books include Walk in My Boots, The Joy of Connecting, You, or YOU, Set a High Standard for Being Human, and 42 Rules for Effective Connections. Currently, Bonnie combines her energy and 30 plus years of networking experience to support female entrepreneurs and professionals and business women. And we'll get all that contact information to you as well, so you can make sure that you reach out to Bonnie and find out more about her. But I want to jump right in because you definitely are known as the Connection Diva. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then she also has another moniker, Boot Girl. If you know Bonnie, her signature piece is always wearing boots. So first, let's just tell everyone about how you got into networking and becoming the Connection Diva.
Okay, well, thank you, and thanks for our time together. I was in retail for a number of years,
Okay.
and during that time, this goes back in the 80s, I recognized that in order to build my business, I had a network. Now, I came from a teaching background, which is the classroom. So all of a sudden, I got introduced to the Chamber of Commerce. Well,
Okay.
I'd never been to a Chamber of Commerce before, but I recognized that if I was going to build my franchise, I had to get out and meet people. And I found that
Absolutely.
that was as much enjoyment for me as having customers coming into the facility. So that in the early 80s, that was really the beginning of my networking experiences and my love of meeting new people. I love that opportunity. Just find out what people are doing, how I can connect them, and it's just part of my 30-year career, which you
Okay.
talked about.
Okay. So you started with that, and then how did you move into starting your business?
Well, I was mentoring women. But this was 95 when my husband
Okay.
and I moved to Atlanta from the DC area. I sold my business, moved to Atlanta, and the one thing I knew how to do was what? Network. So I decided to go out and we needed to make friends. We needed to connect with our community. And I always loved working with women, even in the franchising arena when I was training. So I met a lot of women that were just getting started in business, and I thought, well, I could use my expertise to mentor them. So I started a mentoring
Okay.
group once a week at the Atlanta Bread Company in Bethesda, in Buckhead,
Okay.
and found that to be very successful, that women counted on me to help them, whether it was marketing or giving them a fresh idea, even accountability, Pam, making sure that from week to week they did what they said they were going to
Okay.
do. And from that, I moved from mentoring women looking to get into business to women in business who were looking to expand their reach and expand their database.
Okay.
Hence the birth of my organization,
Okay.
which is coming up on its 12th anniversary.
Wow,
I'll
12th
be able to say we're
anniversary.
in our 13th year
All
soon.
right, it's going to be a great number for you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So now, when
exactly.
you started the networking organization, tell me, because it has that woman focus, and you shared a little bit about that. But tell me, what do you find the differences in women networking and how men network?
Well, I think, the women appreciate nurturing, they appreciate support. I always say that the basis of the way I operate is sharing and caring.
Okay.
And I think, and I'm being generic now because you asked
Okay.
me in a generic way, I think with men it's mostly about telling and selling. It's like, let's get to the point kind of thing. And I find that with women, we're more about building the relationships, about
Okay.
establishing rapport, about being
Exactly.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And from that, then we begin to feel confident to engage in terms of products and services, to refer other people. And many people have asked me why a women's group versus a co-ed, mixed gender, but I have found over the years that I've gravitated more to and have seen results by working with women. So I think there's enough mixed gender and there's enough men's clubs out there that I feel really engaged in knowing that I can make a difference with the women that I connect with,
Okay.
and so I have
Okay.
one main male in my life, and that's my husband, and
Okay.
everybody else is part of my
They're on their own, huh?
networking playground, so to speak. But
Oh,
I
that's
just enjoy
fantastic.
it.
That's
I
good. That's
enjoy it, and
good.
I'm good at it. So
Absolutely,
when you're good at
absolutely.
something, you stick with it.
Right, you've
So
built a strong reputation on that.
thank
But
you.
and one thing I'll say too, because there's a lot of different networking groups as well, and types of networking groups. You have the leads groups, you have more of the open networking groups. Now, your networking organization is set up a little bit different. Tell us about your system.
Well, it's platform is similar to a franchise. It's
Okay.
similar to a franchise. I call it a license because with franchise, my background is franchising. With franchising, you actually have to register, you have royalty. I mean, there's specifics in a franchise that are very regulated, and there's certain levels of accountability that aren't part of my program. Mine is a license program, which means a woman will buy the license and the right to represent Experience Connections in her home. I help her with all the training, the website, the ongoing support, but the revenue that she generates is not royalty tax. So what she earns by having women come, what she earns in terms of her products and services remain with her.
Okay.
So she's buying
Okay.
a program and a system, but that becomes the platform for her to
Okay.
become the go-to person, the
Okay.
center of influence. So it's a
Okay.
very different model.
Okay,
Very
now do
different
you
model.
have territories, or how does someone, if they're interested in starting one of the, do you call them teams, or what do you call them?
Well, we call it XC Leader. It's basically a
Okay.
chapter program, but
Okay.
they own their chapter. They're
Okay.
not plugging into somebody else's,
Okay.
they're plugging into their own.
Okay, so now
Yeah.
then the chapters, are there certain territories where they don't cross kind of boundaries, or how does that work?
Well, it starts with the zip code.
Okay.
So in that way, in some, as you well know, just living in Atlanta, I mean, some zip codes are huge. So it starts
Right,
with the
right.
zip code, and then if somebody else is interested and they may be in a neighboring zip code, it's a collaborative where I'll speak to the woman that already has the location and I'll say, listen, Pam wants to do it, it's still 4 or 5 miles away. What's great is that you can go to her event and be promoting your insurance, and then she can
Right.
go to your event and be promoting her
Okay.
marketing, her studio work, and so on. So it becomes collaborative, but it always rests with the individual that's
Okay.
there first.
Okay.
And given that you can only have 20 or 25 people at once, you can imagine that there's hundreds of thousands of women that would never even come or wouldn't even know about you.
Right,
So
right.
it's worked out
That's
beautifully, and
fantastic.
there's enough business in women that I think that the playing field's pretty large,
Okay,
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
And then is it always suggested that they do it in their home?
Well, it used to be that way, and
Okay.
that's a good question to ask. And we did turn away people who had reluctant husbands, spouses, or they have children that are young, or maybe
Right.
animals that prohibit it from being in their home. But now we actually have a relationship with Regis, the
Okay.
Regis office facilities, regis.com. And I have somebody that helps me coordinate that.
Okay.
So now women really aren't precluded, because if there's a Regis in their community, we get to use that facility once a month at no fee. Regis wins because we're bringing women to that particular facility, and we win because we have a professional place
Right.
for which women can meet and
Fantastic.
network. So that has become a significant development that didn't exist years ago.
That's fantastic. That I think makes a huge difference and
It
opens up
does.
the doors for so many more women that may be a little bit more hesitant about going to someone's home and that sort of thing. So that's good. So now tell everyone before we segue how they can get in touch with you, learn more about the different chapters that are available, or even potentially become a leader.
That'd be great. Well, the website itself is, without the E, is experienceconnections.com. And I encourage you not only go to the website, and I have some offerings there, but you can also go to experienceconnections.com/landing. And there are 2 complimentary gifts there. There's also a form you can fill out. It's strictly an interview form, your name, your address, the business you're in, why you're looking to expand through marketing. And if, when the field shows up that says says, how'd you hear about it? Please make sure that you put this program
Absolutely.
there so that I can give Pam credit for sending you my way. But that's one way. The other way is my name, Bonnie, B-O-N-N-I-E, Ross, R-O-S-S, Parker.com. You can learn more about me there and my books. And I also have a trailer there that you can read
Okay.
my first chapter to get a feel for my book. So
Good,
those are the two
good,
main,
good.
main
And that's a good segue because I was about to ask you, let's talk about Walk in My Boots. That's really the signature book that you're known for. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, my husband Phil is the first author in the family. I never intended to be an author, and most books I don't think are created because somebody says, "Oh, I think I'll be an author. I think I'll write my story."
Right.
But a lot of us do get encouraged to do it. Not everybody does it. Through my mentoring, eventually my organization, there were a lot of women primarily that said, you need to write down how to be a more effective connector. You need to let people know how connection has not only impacted your journey, but to guide other women as to how it can impact theirs. So the book came out just in time for my mother's 80th birthday. I surprised
Fantastic.
her.
Right.
And my company is Lily Publishing. Her
Okay.
name is Lillian.
Okay.
And I also dedicate the book to her. So she's the ultimate connector. And it was a way for me to honor her too. So a lot of men have read the book, and you might be thinking, well, why would a man read the book? But they want to connect better with women. So
Exactly.
I never
Exactly.
thought about that in terms
Yeah.
of an advantage. So men are reading it in order to be more effective in the selling and in the connecting to women. And women read it because they want to be empowered by the stories of other women. And it's not just my story. I highlight women that I've met along the way. It starts with the 60-mile walk, which I did as a younger woman. And I just take you through stories and ideas of connection. I have some original poetry, very personal poetry in there about my husband and I. And we're about connection too.
Okay, that's right. It's
So,
always about
yeah,
connection,
it
right?
is.
We're all humans, and that's what we want to do, and we want to do it more effectively. So now, great title, of course, Walk My Boots. Tell everyone that what that's all about and this whole boot theme that you have going on.
Well, Phil and I are second marriage, and my first husband was very tall, and I used to wear high shoes. Not as
Okay,
high as you see today, but
okay,
high enough. Well, when Phil and I started dating, we're the same height, and I felt uncomfortable. He's fine, I don't care, wear whatever. But he wore cowboy boots, which was a little
okay.
unusual, so I figured, well, instead of flat shoes, I'll wear cowboy boots. And I have been wearing cowboy boots for
Yep,
25
yep.
years. I am
Wow,
always wearing cowboy
that's
boots.
right.
People tease me, even coming out of LA Fitness with my flip flops. I keep a pair in the car. If I'm going to the bank, the post office, the
That's
grocery
right.
store, anywhere, I put those boots
That's
on.
right.
I'm not seen in public without my
That's right. It
cowboy
has
boots.
become your brand, right?
And it's my brand,
Right.
Boot Girl.
That's
Yeah,
it, and
so it's
that's
just,
so
it
important.
happened. It
Yeah,
wasn't planned, it
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
And I do have a very nice collection. And I go to events and people will see me and they'll say, I want to check out your
Yeah,
boots
see
today.
what you're
You know, I
wearing
said, that's
today.
fine.
Exactly. And ladies, that's, I
It
mean,
just
Bonnie's
happened.
telling you another way to connect, finding kind of that one thing. Some ladies wear hats, some wear a flower on their lapel,
That's
Bonnie
right.
wears boots. So, some wear a particular color, have a signature color, but really establishing that brand is a great way to connect and for people to remember you.
It really is, and I never intended for that to happen until people started to point it out to me. It's like I wore them because
Yeah.
it was a more suitable way for me to be with Phil and to be more comfortable. But one day somebody said, "Boy, I love your collection," and I'm like, "Collection? Yeah, don't you collect cowboy boots?" I'm like, "Well, I never intended to,
Right.
but I do now." And
Wow.
I always tease my husband; he's my first love, but I got it, and the
That's
grandkids and
great.
all that. But then my second love is definitely my cowboy boot collection.
Great, great.
I've gone a lot of places and
Yeah.
bought them over the years in
That's
lots of
good.
different
That's good. So
places.
now
So
you
it's
all
just kind
know
of fun.
they'll now every woman you see don't if they're wearing boots don't just ask them if their Bonnie writes Parker, but but when you see Bonnie you'll have something that connects you with her already. Now let's go into tell me more about your program. It's Are You a Savvy Networker?
Are you a savvy networker? I developed this, it was really sort of interesting. I do workshops because a lot of people are very interested in how can they step up their game. And Are You a Savvy Networker is an interactive workshop
Okay.
primarily, and it's mixed gender. I've done it at
Okay.
chambers and I've done it just for women. I've
Okay.
never done it just for
Great.
men. But I take individuals through, first of all, a self-test so that they can kind of assess where they're comfortable, where they're not, what they could be improving on, where they need help. And then we do things like conversation starters. That's unique. How do you start a
Okay.
conversation when you walk into a room? Or
Yeah.
what can you do to be memorable, stand out? You
Yeah.
mentioned some things about color or maybe, a certain style that you have that people come to recognize. You know, men wear an unusual tie, or women with, you know, specific colors. So I take people through being memorable, both in your appearance as well as in your behavior. Ideas on how to manage your time better so that you follow up more effectively. So we go through a lot of follow-up ideas. Of course, I'm very committed to just making connections, making a difference that
Okay.
really resonates with somebody.
Okay.
And so I talk a lot about being resourceful. What are some things you can do so that you stand out? You know, when we were younger, Pam, everybody wanted to be the same. I mean, that's peer pressure is peer pressure. You know, we
yeah.
all want to be the same, wear the same, act the
yeah.
same, do the same things. That doesn't work in a crowded marketplace. So unless you distinguish yourself, unless you step up your game, unless you do something that creates a sphere of influence for you, you're just one
Yeah,
of.
that's
So
right.
I always tell people, if you want to show up for the right reason, show up to be remembered, follow up so that people, you stay top of
Right.
mind, and that's a
Exactly.
workshop that I do. Are you a savvy networker? And there's always strategies in there that somebody can benefit from.
Okay. Fantastic.
They usually have
That's
some
great.
weak area that they want to really accelerate.
Yeah.
So that's a good program for
That's
that.
great. So now you all have even another reason, especially men, because now maybe you won't go to the networking meetings, but you definitely have some workshops that you can attend with Bonnie and really be able to hear more of the great information and experience that she has in networking and connecting. Now, let's talk about what brought us together. Give me just a little tidbit on what excited you about Pink Power Conference and why you decided to get
Well,
involved.
first of all, it's women. Okay, so
Okay.
that was like,
Check.
okay, I'm there. That's number one. And number two, it gives me a chance to meet women that I wouldn't meet ordinarily
Okay.
otherwise.
Fantastic.
And it's also a chance for me to, I'm going to do a very, very quick 20-minute presentation called The Quick Connection, which is differentiate, be memorable, make a difference.
Okay.
So
Exactly.
I love Felicia. I think that what she's doing is phenomenal, and I wanted to be part of what she's now calling a movement, where women will come together and mastermind and be all about what's in it for one another, not just what's in it for me,
Right.
but what's in it for everybody. What are we going to do to resource, to create leads, to the synergy that
Yeah.
comes with coming together? And it's a 2-day event, which means that there's a lot more time for us to really get to know the other people that are there, because I know there will be men there as well. So I was excited when she asked me. I didn't hesitate. I thought this is a chance to step up my game and deliver some information, some ideas that could really empower women. And I actually am speaking on Thursday on the floor as opposed to in the evening, because they wanted me to kind of set the stage
Okay.
on some
Okay,
networking
good,
ideas
good. Yes,
that then could
because
be
Friday's a
implemented during
big
the course
day
of
of,
the 2 days.
yes, of a
So
lot of
I'm
networking.
pumped
That's
about
good.
it, and I'm already reconnecting with some women I haven't met or
Good.
seen in a long time, and I'm anticipating all the women that will come by my table, maybe buy one of my books, and
Yes.
have a chance to introduce themselves. So
That's great. So
it can't
everyone,
be
this is
but
a
a
great
win-win. It
opportunity.
can't be but a
Exactly. Great
win-win.
opportunity for you all to meet Bonnie face to face. If you haven't, definitely make sure you stop by her table and make sure you make it down in the media area, because BizLinks TV Network is going to be there on
That's great.
location
That's
doing
great.
red carpet interviews. We'll make sure that we grab you as well for the red carpet interview. And before we close, give everyone maybe one of your favorite motivational sayings or mantras.
Well, one of the things that I say, which is really, it's so small, but it's so true, it's make every connection count. You never know who you're going to meet and the difference you can make in
Yeah.
someone's life.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to meet and the difference they can make in your life. Bottom line, you never know. And if you never know, you have to make every connection count.
That's right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you for
Bonnie. I
having me.
appreciate it.
And we'll get to see each
Absolutely.
other soon at Pink Power Mastermind
That's
and
right.
hopefully in the future. And to those of you that have been watching, I would love to support you any way I can. So again, experienceconnections.com. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of That's My Biz. You can watch the on-demand episodes at www.bizlinks.tv and check out our red carpet interviews and other great interviews that we do with businesses on our YouTube channel, which is also BizLinks TV. And remember that we want to expose your business to the world. Thank you for joining us. Today's show can be viewed on demand on our website at www.bizlinks.tv. If you are interested in having your products, services, or special cause showcased on our program, submit an inquiry to That's My Biz at bizlinks.tv. In addition, information on advertising and hosting your own show can be found on our website at bizlinks.tv.